Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Florida Band Podcast. You know why you're here. It's everything Florida Band. My name is Christian Gordon. I'm one of the band directors at West Glades Middle School in Parkland, Florida.
And I'm Andrew Lopez. I'm the band director at Coniston Middle School in West Palm Beach.
Once again, thanks for being here. Welcome. Today's episode, we are going to cover the best practices for middle school band in the state of Florida. This is a document put out by our FBA, aka Florida Bandmasters Association, that's published on their website. And it's a document and a guide for all middle school band directors in the state.
This thing is like gold. Have you actually ever read this thing down?
I did in preparation for this episode, but
nice.
Before that, I heard it existed and I downloaded it, but I referenced it whenever I needed some points for advocacy. I never actually sat down and went bullet by bullet. Am I doing these things? Do I need to do these things? So on and so forth. How about you?
I read this at least once a year. No one told me it existed. I was just like a nerd, and I think my second year teaching, I was like just being a dork over summer. And I was strolling through FBA.com.org, and I found it, and I was like, "Wait, what is this?" And as I kept reading, I was like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!" And it was just like, "This is gold." And I read it down, and what I did is I actually, and I still have it in my band room. I printed it out, and I have it posted on a bulletin board in my office. And as my program has gone to accomplish or embody a certain goal per bullet, I've either checked it off or like I've highlighted it and just kind of like be like, okay, am I reaching the potential that we should, kind of thing. I use it as a checklist that it's designed to be. It's pretty neat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe you should be running this episode.
No, man, it's good. I just didn't. I haven't read it in a minute, but I love it. I love this document. I read it at least once a year just to keep myself on my toes.
Well, I'm looking forward to your thoughts because we're basically going to go bullet by bullet.
All right.
How have things been since the last time we recorded?
I mean, it's been good. It was nice to go paddleboarding today.
Yes, we did do that on our inflatable paddle boards.
Yeah, man. If y'all don't have some and you live in Florida, or if you live anywhere near water that's like not the ocean, I highly suggest you use it. But it's been good. Did that. Went to the gym, had some tortellini, finished the red velvet cake. It's all good in the hood. We gotta hang out with a rabbi later, which is cool. Like he's a cool rabbi. He's a cool dude. But all is good. What about you?
You'll never guess what I had for dinner.
Curry.
Soup.
Got soup.
Oh, what a shocker.
All right, so I'm going to read the introduction here and then we'll talk about it. So the introduction is about 3 paragraphs. The following document presents the findings of a select committee, which was formed to describe a band program at the middle school level that represents policies, procedures, and fundamentals that can be defined as best practices in Florida school band programs. A primary goal of the committee was to base its findings not only on what would represent the best practices, but also what would incorporate common practice wherever possible. In this sense, the findings represent a realistic model of what a middle school band in Florida should look like. These findings should serve as a model against which band programs can measure their own policies, practices, and fundamentals. The committee fully realizes that each band program in Florida is unique and must respond to the many variables that are in effect in its own community. It therefore cautions readers of this document to not use these findings as mandates.
That's a big one.
Instead, the committee represents the individuals who are in charge of a middle school band program in Florida with goals for which they can strive. In this regard, the committee hopes that the findings presented herein may help band directors, administrators, and parents to achieve a comprehensive and well-balanced band program that places its emphasis on student learning within a structure of carefully planned performance activities. Above all else, an intelligent and purposeful use of the student time must guide the activities of any successful band program. And so, these guidelines should serve as benchmarks for middle school bands to use as they plan their courses of study and performance activities. The findings presented in the following sections describe the, quote, ideal middle school band program. Some of the items may not apply to each and every middle school band program in Florida, but serve as an indicator of what the complete band program looks like and how it engages in the business of educating its students.
All right, TLDR. If that was too long and you didn't, I guess it's TLDL, right? If that was too long and you didn't listen to any of that, the best practices, what they serve for is this is what a good and comprehensive and strong and balanced middle school program should look like. But none of these are required. These are not mandates. These are just suggestions that and good examples that have been gathered by many like programs in the state. Like not being, like as in successful pedagogy. And you do your best to get as many of these as possible, but understand that we as the, Florida Bandmasters Association understand that everybody's different. So do your best. It's not required. Do your best. Yeet.
And they did a really good job spelling that out and making sure the reader understands that that's the case. I like that they say, above all else, an intelligent and purposeful use of student time must guide the activities of any successful band program.
Yeah, it's my favorite part is that it's so important for young and newer band directors to read this because it talks about the ideal situation. What is basically what you're taught in college, right? But it's very real in that, like, do your best to get this. If you don't, it's gonna be okay.
But I like that it focuses on the use of student time and that, the band program isn't there for the band director's vanity.
That's a big one.
That the student experience comes first.
Yeah, those are the 2 points. Is one, this ain't no mandate, and two, you're here for the students. And I guess that's in the wrong order. It's one, you're here for the students, and two, right, this ain't no mandate. The next section we have here is findings. And the first subsection is the overall band program. I guess we'll just read these bullet points down, and I'll start with the first one. It's the middle school band program in Florida that engages in best practices will, number one, be part of a comprehensive music program, which should also include chorus, orchestra, and general music. And depending on adequate funding and facilities, could also include piano, keyboard classes, guitar classes, music technology, music theory, and music appreciation, and a fine arts wheel. None of this is within the control of the band director. So as much of this as you have, that's good. My school has band. That's it.
Okay, cool. My school has orchestra. That's funny that they say and general music. I don't think I've seen general music at the middle school level. I've heard of it, but I've never actually seen it.
Not in public schools.
Okay. I've seen guitar and piano. I know we used to have piano because we have a ton of pianos at our school. We don't currently.
Same.
But a separate music theory, music appreciation, I haven't seen that either.
We used to have a chorus, and the chorus teacher had subsections of piano keyboard. So the keyboard that I use for my jazz band is one of those. She bought like 20, and then they canned the chorus program for reasons. But yeah, I can't get into that. But they kept the keyboards. Yeah, they kept the keyboards, and all the keyboards have district tags, so they could go other places. But I was like, I need them for my own reasons. So yeah, we used to have a keyboard, and we used to have a chorus, but that's as far as it went. And we have the fine arts wheel, so we have dance and we have art, but that's how much. And we used to have drama. I think they want to bring it. We're trying to bring it back, but that's all we have.
We don't have a fine arts wheel, and I feel very sorry for any chorus or orchestra or band that is stuck in a wheel where their membership changes every quarter or whatever it ends up being. I personally don't think that's ideal. We also don't have chorus. We did, but it was very small, and it turns out anybody that wanted to sing ended up taking drama anyway, and so we changed drama from drama to musical theater, and so now if you want to sing, you join drama.
Sure. I don't think the fine arts wheel applies to music classes. I'm pretty sure any administration who understand band even a little bit and orchestra and chorus understand that that's not like, usually fine arts wheels are usually like beginning dance and beginning drama and things like that. In my experience, I've never seen, but it's not unheard of for a music class to be part of the wheel, unless it was like the first.
I have seen it. I have seen band as being part of the
Ooh.
Not fun, but just for beginning band.
Sure.
But that's still, yeah.
All right, read the next one.
All right, sure. Be comprehensive and balanced, and will include concert band at the advanced level, concert band at the intermediate level, beginning band, jazz band, chamber music instruction, and in parentheses, solo and ensemble, private and small group instruction, instruction in music theory, music history, and conducting. So as I glanced at this, I agree with all of it, and at our school, we're able to accomplish pretty much everything. The jazz band is starting back up next year for us. We do the chamber music, and theory is incorporated into our curriculum, and I'm looking for ways to incorporate history and conducting into it more. How about you?
Yeah, all this is a big old duh. With obvious, same thing, theory. Band directors always struggle with that, trying to get music theory, like history and conducting. I usually do a lot with music theory with my jazz band, because then you can teach chord voicings, and through that I can teach improvisation. But I don't, other than like, S&E and beginning band, jazz band, concert bands. This is a dumb moment. Next one.
Do you find it interesting that improvisation isn't part of this bullet?
I don't remember if it. I think it shows up later. There is a jazz band section.
I ask because I know some state standards include improvisation, so I wonder if it's later.
It is. It shows up later in this. It's the last,
maybe it's implied within jazz band.
It's the last bullet of jazz band. So talking about.
Oh, that's later on.
Yeah, literally in the document. So yeah, it's there. But moving on. Recruit students through a planned schedule of practices, which include articulation with elementary feeders, communication with elementary parents throughout the year via personal written means, performances at the elementary schools, attending and assisting elementary schools events, creating professional relationships with the elementary teachers, and using the wheel as a recruiting tool. Another duh. You do all of this, don't you?
Have to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we have to recruit almost all year long. We are competing with a ton of electives, and we don't get anybody that doesn't choose our class first or second out of their 2 electives. And but we do go to all the elementary schools, and we do offer help with anything that they need. We also bring them donuts, which they find very helpful. And we're still building professional relationships with the elementary teachers, since we did just get to the school, and but about half the time we've been at the school, we've been in COVID school, so hasn't been the easiest thing to do.
Sure.
What about you?
I do not all of this, but I do as much as I can. We definitely do performances. That's actually what the jazz band was originally created for at my school, was to go out and be the face of the school. So we do a lot of performances. When I can, go barge into elementary music classrooms and become the wild, crazy guy, and everybody loves me. I've only been to a couple of elementary school events as an assistant, because no one tells me these things. Even though I've asked. And then obviously communication with elementary parents, with just sending out blasts via email and calls. But yeah, I mean, that's another dumb moment, especially I would say like the most accessible thing that people can do is, performing for your elementary students, speaking to your elementary parents, and then building the relationship with the teacher. Those are the 3 most common, best used. And even if you do just those 3 in certain situations, you might be okay.
We're going to have an episode where I bring in my associate /girlfriend onto the podcast, and we're going to talk about Westglade's recruiting plan, and hopefully you guys will find useful information on that. All right, I'll go on to the next bullet. Is that cool?
Yeah, keep going, man.
All right. Maintain close communication and a working relationship with the high school program it feeds via the following practices: articulation with the high school directors, communication with parents via personal and written means, participating in joint events including but not limited to middle school, high school football night, joint concerts, social interactions, and side-by-side rehearsals, student mentoring by high school students, inviting high school directors to be guest conductors. I would say I'm fortunate enough to be doing all these things where I'm at right now, and so far so good. The newest thing has been the joint concerts. That's the newest thing we did, not this past year but the year before, and it worked out really well. But we are able to do the football night and social interactions. Side-by-side rehearsal would be awesome. We mentioned in a previous episode, Ian Schwint mentioned that at the summer conference.
Yeah, this entire
really
bullet.
great idea.
This entire bullet is that. So if you do want more on this episode, like more on this bullet, go check out summer conference episode part 2. We talk about this for like 10-15 minutes. In terms of, because there was a middle school session led by a panel, and then there was a high school session led by a panel, and they talked about both sides of this coin. So if you want more of that, shameless plug on our other episodes, go check out summer conference episode 2, which is I think episode 5 of the season. Next one, be led by a full-time certified band director.
Why don't you do the next 2 also?
Sure. Moving on.
Together.
Moving on from that sentence. Be led by a full-time certified band director. There are scenarios. Again, this is not in control of the band director themselves. Certified means having a degree in music, at least music, but hopefully specifically some sort of certification in music education, K-12. Anyway, moving on. I think we can all agree. Having a second certified band director to assist, wouldn't that be nice? At least on a part-time basis with the instruction of the students. If more than 200 students are enrolled in the band program, the assistant director would be full-time if there are more than 300 students in the band program. And then the third bullet is having a third certified band director to assist the instruction of the students if more than 400 students are enrolled in the band program. I have opinions about this, but it's not opinions about like the standard. It's just my own life story. Yeah. So at Coniston, pre-COVID, we were, my first year when I got there in January 2016, the band program only had about 140 students. And every year after that, we were pushing 260 to 280. And it wasn't until the year before COVID where I was actually able to get like a written down and a spoken word promise by my principal that if I could get to 300, I would get a second person full time. I've only ever been able to have like a part-time person here or a part-time person there, because for most, what a lot of people don't know is that a second band director, you're not just paying that salary, you're paying double the salary because you're also paying, the school has to pay for benefits too. So it almost like in some cases it may cost almost like $100,000 to hire a new person. And also certain schools in Florida, depending on the school district, schools are only allotted a certain number of teacher spots, and a lot of those teacher spots, like in Palm Beach, for example, a school will be allotted, a middle school might get allotted 7 math teacher positions, or 10 elective teacher positions, and it's up to the principal to use those allotments how they see fit. They can't just add one. Yeah. You have a second band director, so what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, she's technically part-time because she also does the orchestra, and I don't assist with that necessarily, not officially. So and when we were hired together, and with the understanding that the program would grow, because simply put, we're the only middle school in our town, and it's about 1,800 students. So we definitely have the potential to be in the 200 to 300 or more range. Mm-hmm. After 1 year at the school, we were able to get up to 250, And that's only 1 year, and that was with 140 beginners. And then COVID hit, and so we're definitely taking a toll right now. So I'm really excited to get back up and hopefully rebuild up to 2 or 3 years worth of students, to where, our principal can definitely justify, and so can the band, can justify having 2 full-time directors. I did, just like you, got word promise. You said your number was what, 300?
Yeah,
where you would get somebody.
He told me if I got 300 for a day, I'd get a second person.
Okay. Well, our principal said 360, but I'm gonna try and work him at 300.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And the thing is, when I told him that, I cited this document. For sure.
Yeah, that's one thing that this document is great for, is advocating for what you need as a band director.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the numbers are. I think the numbers outlined here make sense.
No, they make absolute sense. I've never heard of.
Yeah.
I've lived in Florida for 28 years. Sorry to cut you off. I lived in Florida for 28 years, and I've seen a band program back in the day when Avalon Middle School had 2 band directors. Avalon Middle School is in Orlando. It was Tara Melvin, who's now at Autry in Georgia, and then Katie Hoey, who's now at Timber Creek as the 3rd band director. They had like 420 something kids. They had so many kids, and they only ever had 2. I don't remember if they ever were trying to get a second or a third person, but have you ever seen 3 people in Florida in a band room? In a middle school band room?
No. In fact, I mean, I've seen programs, about Ramblewood Middle School. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows John Nist has been there for a very long time. Bless his heart, great guy. I think every year has 300 or more, and he's the only person.
Yeah.
And the only thing he ever asked for from his principal was a 6th period to fit all the kids in.
Yep.
So, yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Let's see. Receive funding from the school district that is sufficient to accomplish its instructional goals. And there's an asterisk. I don't know how to say it on instructional, and the asterisk says all materials, equipment, and services needed to provide quality instruction in all facets of the band program. For example, music, instruments, repairs, recordings, method books, classroom equipment, etc. I will say, Broward, help us out, because we're lacking in this area.
Palm Beach ain't. I got cash, and it's all for specifically.
I got cash.
Gold. It's all. I love Palm Beach.
That's good. Yeah, that was actually pretty recent, right? What was it, 20 grand or something for?
So what we received.
Can you expound upon that?
Yeah, I'm about to make a lot of people if you're not from Palm Beach, a little jealous. So we got a grant that for 5 years, every band program in the county, in Palm Beach County, got $20,000. We're about to enter year 3. I've used the $40,000 that I've gotten already to buy 14 tubas and 10 euphoniums. I'm about to use the next $20K to outfit my percussion. And fun fact, Disney, because Disney, you can do concerts at Disney and stuff. They replace their percussion every year. So if you're looking to buy good percussion that's only been used like once or twice or maybe 3 times, hit up your music store vendor, and they can get in contact with the people at Disney and purchasing, and then you can probably buy those instruments. They can, like, the music store can buy those instruments, and then they can sell them to you at the band director price. But anyway, so yeah, we get $20,000 every year for 5 years. Hopefully that gets renewed. If that gets, I don't believe it will, but if it does, that'll be the greatest thing ever. Like, come teach in Palm Beach. But then in addition to that, we also get about $2,000 in that for textbook supplies, which is music. So I get $2,000 to buy music every year. We get about $2,500 in instrument repair, and then we also get money. We also get funded for piano tuning. So like the pianos in the school, especially, and that goes for chorus programs as well. You get money for piano tuning, and then we also get reimbursements on charter buses for like travel and things like that. So Palm Beach hooks us up really, really well. We're very fortunate to live in a community that's really supported the arts. I do know in other districts it's all out. It has to do a lot with your FTEs and your numbers, how like depending on, like, I know Orange is all about numbers. It's depending on how many students are in the band, or how many students are in the band relative to the school, they give you a chunk of funding. It really depends. I do like that they highlighted and that it's instructional goals, because a lot of times band directors that don't understand how to navigate the legislative aspect of this and the political side and the bureaucratic side, they're like, hey, where's my money? They don't have money for you. So I do like how it's ideally you should be getting some sort of funding for instructional goals, not just a chunk of change to do whatever you want with it. I like that.
I'll have to dig deeper and talk with our district supervisor over the fine arts to see if there's other things, because all I am aware of is repair money, and that's actually split between me and the orchestra program, and it's not very much. I'll just say that. But as far as money for music or instruments or recordings or method books or classroom equipment, that has to come from my boosters, because I know my school doesn't have any. And this is actually, do you mind if I read the next bullet as well, because it kind of goes with this one?
Yeah, read the next two. Don't worry about the asterisks. I've been reading the asterisks, but read the next two.
Receive additional funding for its co-curricular activities from school internal sources, the PTA, School Foundation, School Improvement Committee, and special school district allocations. If the band is involved in supporting athletic events, the athletic department contributes funding to the band program in return. The next bullet is receive supplemental funding for its extracurricular activities from student fees, student fundraising, parent fundraising, donations, sponsors, and other self-generated funding.
All right.
So I found it interesting that the PTO, they think the PTO or PTA, at my school it's PTO, should be involved with funding the band program, because I know our PTA does a lot of fundraising, and I have no idea where they use that money other than, buying us teachers like sweatshirts or gift cards to Walmart, things like that. I'm not exactly sure. We do have a school improvement committee, and we have received funding for that from them once. But everything else I'm just not aware of, and I need to probably dig in this year and see what else. And then involved in supporting athletic events, the athletic department contributes funding to the band program in return. I never considered that. And we did want to start having the band at some athletic things, but that was mostly to promote the band. That's the thing that we would get out of it. Mm-hmm. But the supplemental stuff for extracurricular, that's stuff we already do. Student fees, booster fundraising, donation sponsors, and stuff like that. What are your thoughts?
So I actually, Christian made fun of me earlier for hanging this up in my wall when I was a second year teacher. I got the idea to contact my PTA and my SIC and to get funding. So I went to my second year. I went to a SAC committee, which is student parent active committee, and went to a PTO meeting, and I learned that the entire board were band parents. So I go to as many meetings as I can, which is only a couple per year, but I go to specific meetings and I ask for money because everybody I'm talking to happens to be a band parent. That's at my school. There might be other schools where you might get like one or two parents, but those are advocates for you. And they don't give me a lot of money, but they do give me enough money to help pay for polos. They do give me money to help pay for like pizza for kids and stuff like that. And that's a chunk of change that I don't have to use out of my internal. And I got that idea from this document when I was a second year teacher, and it has never failed. Something I thought was missing is grants. Grants are more a Title I thing, because there's like a gajillion grants out there for Title I schools from every program that's educational in nature. We need to bring in Tiffany Cox at Lake Worth High School to talk about grants, because she has like no money in her internal, and all of her nice things in her room are from grants. I thought everything on here was great, except they don't talk about grants. So look into grants if you can, especially if you're Title I. There's money for literally anything. Anything you need. Students should participate in 0 to 2 fundraising events during the school year. Yes, do one in the fall, one in the spring. Distribute funding in the following manner: 70% for instructional purposes. This is a total band budget, by the way. 70% for instructional purposes, 20% for co-curricular purposes, 10% for extracurricular purposes. And then allocate the funding in the following manner for the instructional area. So the instructional funding, the 70%, should be 25% music, 25% instruments and equipment, 10% for MPA fees. And a fun fact, your MPA fees get lowered, or your MPA fees are determined by your marching band MPA gate. So however many tickets they sell for marching band MPA determines your MPA fees. So always encourage people to go to the marching band MPAs in Florida. 10% for repairs and maintenance, 10% for transportation, 10% for awards, recognition projects, and social events, 5% for clinicians, and 5% for supplies. I follow this as close as I can, excluding the stuff that I get money for from the district. So music and method books, I get money for that, so I don't have to worry about that. And like instruments and equipment, I get money for that. Repairs and maintenance, I get money for that. 10%, it's more 5%, but I get money for that. So I follow this as much as I can, but a lot of that's provided for me because I'm a lucky spoiled baby. What about you?
I'm not sure what we do. We spend money on all these things. I don't know what the percentages are. This would be a great thing to hand my boosters.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
All right. Next bullet. Engage in a band trip at the discretion of the band director. In general, instructionally based trips are 2 days and 1 night, and reward trips are for only 1 day. We do this.
I need to. I need to do more. I haven't done a trip in about 1.5 years, obviously because of COVID, but I didn't even do a trip the year up before. Like when COVID hit, we hadn't gone on our trip yet, and I need to do that more.
We had done 2 trips. We do a winter trip. Any student that participates in our middle school marching band, which all we do is march in the parade and do some recruiting events. It's not like drum corps. But if they participate in that, they're invited to go with us to march in a parade at Universal Studios. And that's a lot of fun. And that's a 1-day trip. And then we also take our beginners on a trip. Mm-hmm. And actually, the week before COVID shut us down, we went to Disney for 1 day.
Oh, and yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Sure. Yeah, I want to do a UCF trip. I want to bring the kids up to UCF in the winter. As we're just getting started with MPA prep, they can get in front of some college professors. And then obviously I want to do a big trip, like a reward trip, probably at the end of the year. And plus we're an Avid school, so having the kids exposed to a college music program fits in the mission of Avid, talking about college preparedness and all that stuff. Next one. Limit the amount of time students spend in out-of-school rehearsals. Yeet skeet, control alt delete on this one. Time spent in out-of-school instruction should not exceed a 5-to-1 ratio for any single student across classes. 5 minutes of in-school instruction for every 1 minute of out-of-school instruction. 5 hours of in-school instruction should generate 1 hour outside. I love this, especially at the middle school level, because middle school kids haven't really found their niche yet. And band kids, especially in the 21st century, are involved in 1,000 other things. I can't tell you how many of my clarinet section last year was involved in gymnastics. And so I definitely, I follow this exact one for all of my after school rehearsals. I try not to make them any more than used to be. We used to do a lot more after school stuff because we were block, and obviously that's more necessary when you only see a kid twice a week. But now that we're 6 periods, there's not that much need for too many of these things. What about you?
Yeah, we pretty much follow this. The interesting part about it for us, though, is anything that's outside of school, and we typically do these extra practices before school because we start at 9 a.m., 9:15 technically. And so we have students meet at 8 a.m. Yeah, it is nice, but we also get out at 3:45. So, give and take. But students are typically doing stuff after school, and so we take advantage of the before school, and it actually tends to work out. So students get to school an hour early, and 1 day a week is dedicated to marching band. 1 day a week will be dedicated to jazz band, maybe 2, not sure. So it's not actually classes that they take. So it's not like our concert band, which meets every day during school, during class, because we have concert band as an entire class. But it's not like we asked them to also come 1 hour before school. So if they come 1 hour before school it's for something else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And sometimes, especially during MPA season, it would be sectionals. It wouldn't be full rehearsal.
Sure. This next one, defer marching band activities to the high school level. I agree with it. I know you just said you do a marching band. I've been asked to do a marching band a couple times by a lot of different people, and my answer is, have you ever seen an 8th grader walk? Have you ever seen an 8th grader walk and play?
Right. So
and then I leave it alone.
I do have opinions about 8th graders being in the high school marching band, and we don't do that currently. And we did inherit the middle school marching band, and there are several middle schools in our area that march in a parade every year, and so it's kind of expected for us to continue participating in. It hasn't been an issue so far, and we've been able actually to use it to our advantage because we use it to recruit students and things like that, and the kids get to go on a trip now. But I overall I would agree with this, and yes, I have seen 8th graders walk, and having them try to play an instrument at the same time is very funny. But you just have to keep everything lighthearted, and again, it's not drum corps.
That's just hilarious.
It's just kids having fun. So.
I love it. Oh my God.
All right, let's see. Carefully supervise booster organizations.
Yep.
A parent support group, if present, follows all school district and state guidelines, submits all plans to the school principal, and follows all policies as set by the band director. The group exists only to assist the band director in achieving the goals of the overall program.
You speak on this. I don't have one, so you go.
This is a definite, and I would just say that if you ever have boosters that can't follow this and they aren't there to enhance the student experience, you can just move the other direction. That's basically all I have to say about that. But thankfully, our boosters currently are doing a great job, and I'm looking forward to having them help out.
Sure. This next one is pretty self-explanatory. I don't really think we need to elaborate on this. Provide for a band uniform so that the students are dressed uniformly for public performances. Uniforms are either school-owned or student-purchased. Uniforms are made available to students who cannot afford them. Duh. Moving on.
Well, can you talk about your uniform, and I'll talk about mine?
Well, we both do polos.
Okay. And do your students purchase them?
Yep.
Okay. And I think that's really simple. And what do you have them wear below the polo? So is it
black shoes, black belt, black pants, and black socks? My students, because Title I, a lot of times there are kids who may not be able to afford dress shoes, so I just say all black shoes. I mandate, quote unquote, that it needs to be dress shoes, but in the last, in the final hour, the day of school, the day of the performance, when kids come to me and they go, Mr. Lopez, I don't have any dress shoes, we can't afford them, but I have these all black shoes, I'll let it slide. If I were in a place where I knew they could have access to that kind of clothing easily, I probably wouldn't let it slide, but it's just all black everything below the waist.
Okay. Same. And I have seen middle schools that do more elaborate uniforms. Just know that the more elaborate it gets, the more challenging it's going to get to keep everybody uniform. All right, next one. And this is the last one for overall band program. Provide the opportunity to perform a variety of musical styles during the course of the school year. Students should perform 2 to 4 complete concert programs each school year. Representing a wide variety of selections and styles.
That was not a real one, by the way.
No, I know.
I promise.
I had like some kind of weird burp yawn thing going on.
Now you good.
So with this, we do a concert every quarter.
Yep.
And sometimes more than one, but we only count one concert towards their quarter grade. If we end up doing more, it's extra credit or something like that. But and the students know which performance that is. What about you?
Concert bands and beginning bands are 4 performances total. Jazz bands are as many as I want. Deal with it. And we talk about that on day 1, and the parents are cool with it because jazz band performances are like the coolest thing ever. So for a middle school band program. But yeah, that's what I tell. I tell four at the beginning of the year. It's 4 for the concert bands, and I tell them their dates. And then for the jazz band, we have, they have those 4 concert dates as well. But then I say, if there's more, there's going to be more. But every time there's more, there's donuts involved. So be there, and it's cool. And they're like, yeah, donuts, and that's fine. So that ends part 1 of our general practices run through and kind of talk through. The next couple sections, we've got like beginning band coming up, intermediate level concert band, advanced band, and jazz band. We're going to hit that on the next episode, talking about general practices and best practices for FBA. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the overall, just as a whole, that first section? Because that was the biggest section. What are you thinking?
Yeah, no, overall, it's great. It's a great outline. You honestly couldn't go wrong if you're trying to follow these. It's a great advocacy tool, and even if you're not in the state of Florida, you can check out this document, use that as a guide for yourself, and also to help you advocate wherever you are. And I'm looking forward to diving into the rest of the sections in our next episode.
If you have, for those listening, if you have any specific questions or ideas or anything you want to talk about that we've covered, just kind of like in general, we can go deeper on a lot of these things. So any, ideas for future episodes, but take us out, Christian.
All right, guys. This has been the Florida Band Podcast. Hopefully you got what you came for, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Peace out.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Florida Band Podcast. Follow us on YouTube and contact us at flbandpodcast@gmail.com. Catch you next time.